Hello everybody, my name is David Wake and this is sort of my second talk, and I thought I'd do more on writing really, so I'm almost wanting to go to questions and answers straight away. I'm reminded very much, having just taken off my costume, that I come from a theatre background. I started off, if I look back on my life, I won an award for writing when I was in primary school, and that ought to have been a clue, but it wasn't. And I've Dawn to thank for getting into writing properly. I started writing this novel with a friend at university. If we'd written it in a sensible period of time, Terry Pratchett would have been compared to Steele and Wake at their best. Fortunately, we're still writing it. And if you're writing prose, you'll notice you have problems with description and with dialogue. Now, Dawn joined an amateur drama group, did all the backstage stuff to work up to being cast in a part. It sounded interesting to me, so I popped along and they went, "Oh, a bloke, would you like the lead?" And so we did a few plays, and the director, who'd done theatre for 60 years, had very, very clear ideas. You stand there. Yes, sure. Just take around. We wanted to enter a festival. And she brought on one-act plays for us to do, and they were all middle-aged couple in a sour marriage. Just done 3 plays on a middle-aged couple in a sour marriage. So I said, very arrogantly, I can do better myself. You don't have to. So I wrote a thing about a young couple who were about to go into a sour marriage. Great innovation. And we did this one-act play, and then they had this award ceremony at the end. Loads of silver, it was a real surprise. And the mayor is kind of regaling us. Whoa, what is this? And our group won the Rose Bowl. We went to an Indian restaurant afterwards, sitting around congratulating ourselves, as only lovies can. And I was there with this big silver bowl, drinking lager out of it. I like this. And with one-act plays, of course, you don't have any problems with description. They're half as difficult as proper prose. So all you're writing is dialogue. Bubble. But if you're interested in writing, I really recommend it. Really do. Because somebody reads one of my novels, you ask them afterwards, what did you think of it? And I said, I liked it, or brilliant, or whatever. But you don't get that much feedback. But if you do a one-act play, you can sit in the audience and watch the reaction. And you know that joke worked, that was good, that moment was fine, do an improvement. The feedback on every single line. And I think that's where I learned to write, really. Did a big play at a science fiction convention, and I edited the video together. I was watching my own material over and over again, and the audience laugh track going on. That one worked, that one didn't. It's amazing how it kind of filters through. It's called Captain Tartan Saves the World Again. And there were 2 jokes of note really in that. One of them, if you're writing for an actor, they have to leave the stage. You've got to give them an exit line. Got to leave, they've got to come on, leave. So I gave this character an exit line. Oh, very good. A little mental note. Must change that with something funny. And later on I thought a really good joke. And as I was acting this, I thought, I'm going to have that's a really good joke. From the actual performance, I've never got round to changing this exit line. James, who I was in love with, delivers this line, audience fell by that. Okay, later on in the play, come the really good joke, and I went, ta-da! Absolutely nothing. Very depressing. So that I think is where I learned. And I really recommend it. Going in plays. Right, anybody chip in with questions? Otherwise, I'm going to go to do some readings.
Are we going to see your DVD of Captain Tartan anytime soon?
I finished them. I finished number 3. It took me forever to do because my computer kept crashing. and then Windows updated to something that didn't work. And on. So yes, I've done that. Right. Somebody asked me a question yesterday I wanted to follow on from, and I can't remember what the question was. So if they're here, can they ask it again?
It was mine, was it? I can't really remember what it was. You were talking about how certain aspects, like obviously up in the middle of Bodmin Moor, you can't use a plot device like there is no coverage. It doesn't work within the context of a modern novel. And it was like certain things are becoming more all style over content.
Yes, thank you very much. Yes, style over content. They're all science fiction programs, probably all the programs, go through 3 basic stages. Golden Age, Silver Age, and a Brass Age. And the easiest example to use is Doctor Who, because it has a thing to go with the different ages. And I have said things over here. This is the Golden Age, right? This is the Silver Age. You can tell this has got a golden bit on it. Yellow. This is the Silver Age, and this is the Brass Age, right? Not bronze, brass. And it goes quite simply. This is a sonic screwdriver. You don't know what a sonic screwdriver is like. It might look like that. And he used it as a tool, right? So that's science fiction, if you like. Thought through, makes sense to me, the Golden Age. Then we moved on to the Silver Age. This is another science screwdriver, but this is used like a magic wand. You just wave it around, it does whatever you want. It's not thought through. And that leads to stories that are unsatisfying. And you know there's been a cheat. You know the Deus Ex Machina has been used because, you know, you solve the problem, or it does. It's not a problem at all. So that I would say is the Silver Age. And then we get on to the Brass Age, where you have something which is just merchandising. They expect any sort of fan to just buy it, like I'm going to. Oh, I did. Yes, like I did. But there we go. It's changed, not for any other reason than everybody bought one of those, so we need to buy one of these. And Peter Capaldi will have another one, which is bigger and more expensive. So those are the kind of ages of science fiction. I think if you're writing something, you've got to lay out your stall to start with. So these are the rules of my universe. I can't change them. I wrote a book called iPhone because I noticed how people were going around looking at their mobile phones all the time. My day job is in a college, and the students take them out of their pockets before they get to the door. They're already doing something with them. So I wanted to write something about mobile phones. Science fiction, you do a what if. What if mobile phones were artificial intelligence? My theory is artificial intelligence won't turn up in big supercomputers or robots from the future coming out to kill us. There'll be little devices that nag us and do things. So that's what I started to think about. And I thought, well, one of the characters has to be a phone. And then I thought, oh, can we write it from the first person point of view of the phone? So tempting. Which is what I do. My cover on the Kindle looks brilliant. You keep wanting to do this. I'm going to read this, the little opening part, off the Kindle to demonstrate that I'm cutting edge and I use the technology, and not because I can get the font so big I don't have to use my reading glasses. Our pledge. 1. A phone will function safely and will be fully compliant with ESI 98471. 2. A phone will execute all certified applications to the advertised specification. 3. A phone will protect itself and its manufacturer's patents and licenses under the terms of its guarantee. Your statutory rights are not affected. I, phone, commence this contemporaneous natural language log as a forensic witness statement using the black box app. Hopefully, enough of me will survive to be admissible in court. I am the legal property of Miss Alice Worcester, who resides at Upper 328A, Top Bond Street, London. for the purposes of package delivery and network registration. She is about to be murdered. Alice, the victim, is a welcomer for Ushers International in Wonderful World, a professional who has learned how to chew without the jaw movements being replicated in the avatar via her VR box. She is rated popular, and she has 2,367 friends spread across 15 social network sites, as well as belonging to 37 dating communities. Full list available at Alice Worcester 335. Although she wants a proper relationship, she is still classed as female, 23, single, interested in men, looking for a relationship, liberal, Gemini, agnostic, as she's not found the right man yet. She's tried looking for dating, looking for fun, and looking for anything, in order not to sound desperate, clingy, or mad. For goodness sake, Jeeves, she once said, I'm not desperate or anything, but I don't want to end up on the shelf. You don't know what that's like. I find this a strange observation, because I do know what it's like to be on a shelf, and she must be aware of this, because she physically bought me the phone home. So, for the record, I'm a golden candy bar style phone, slightly scuffed, with all the usual features. Introduction's over. I shall now transfer my local cache memories, both observations and thoughts, into this log. In accordance with Alice's user profile, these start exactly 8 hours ago. Thus, 16:57:04.032 GMT. I was lying on the auto Davenport by the front door, backed up, updated, charged, and ready to go. And Alice was alive and working in her study. Memory cache transferring 0.0 of 8.0 hours. And that's what I think I shall move on to doing something with some actors, if I can borrow people. I need the entire audience. I need 9, 10 people to come and help me do a reading. So can I have volunteers?
I'll do something if you want.
Please come up and form a line.
Do you want the ones on chairs?
Yeah, but I need 9.
Well, just leave it. One has no chair. No. Chair, any chair.
Eeny, meeny, miny, which is the most definite place to sit?
I don't know, it just depends which way you go.
9 chairs, and I'm going to sit in the last one.
Is that enough? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Well, how many chairs have we got?
8 so far. Oh.
I'm not the one short you're looking for.
Oh, no, I was going to sit in that one. But I need one somebody at that end, don't I? And I need a baddie.
Are you sitting in that chair, Dave?
Yeah, I'm going to sit in that
Or
chair.
does it say just or a bad baddie?
Can I have Dawn at the end?
Yes.
On regards to the last character is female. You shuffle along, we shuffle along. Come on, Alice, come and join us, and I can choose a baddie. Would you like to be a baddie?
I can be a baddie. I can do that.
I think we're in trouble.
That one for myself.
Why don't I bring your own chair?
Grab a chair.
I'll bring it back.
You are Katie. You are number 6. So I'll kick you out over there, please. No, Alison, I'll pop you here.
At this point, I'm going to say genuinely.
Alison, you're number 5. You're fine there, that's good. You're in a
I'm
good
not a
place.
shadowy figure in the back.
Baddie is out on the
4,
limb.
3, 2, 1, 0. Ah, you're lovely. It's quite nice.
I'm number 1.
Well, you're quite lovely yourself.
Yeah, they're all similar, so don't worry.
Right, under fringe rules, we can do the performance as long as the audience outnumber the cast, so goodness for that. To come back to laying out your stall, I wanted my phone to be believable. You've got to imagine all these people are bits of plastic, by the way. So I looked up an iPhone on Wikipedia, and I said, that is what my phone can do, but it's also artificially intelligent. So it can know where it is, but it can't grow legs and walk about. It can tell which way it is up, but it can't teleport. It can't smell anything. It can only do what an iPhone can do on Wikipedia, and think. And I think that makes this scene a little bit more exciting when you know that it's a lump of plastic that can't do anything. So, gentle people. And when you've finished, and you'll know when you've finished, just go and sit down. So this is later on in the novel, and the phone's been captured by the baddies. I'll try and quickly explain that. Tomby takes me from his pocket and gives me to another older man. Ludley, one phone, says Tomby.
You want it fixed?
Says the man, presumably Ludley, with a trace of a Dutch accent. Fixed in your usual style, yes, snorts Ludley, as he drops me into a metal meshed bag with a dozen other phones. I try connecting with the others, but they might be able to relay a message. If I can't send a proper thought-orientated program file, perhaps an email or a text, I could probably sum it all up in a tweet. Help! Owner about to be tortured and killed. Please send immediate assistance to the source of this message. Thank you. That might work. But it leaves me with 25 characters to spare, except I'm not allowed to give away our location.
Now, all my little prettish.
Says Ludley, taking out each phone in turn. I was dropped in last, so I end up on his far right. Excuse me, I say, but could you tell me what's going on?
Oh no, you're already on your naughty phone.
Ludley looks like a kindly old gentleman with a ruddy face and cheek jowls. He switches us all on. There are a number of beeps, chirps, musical chimes, and a heavy rock riff before we're all settled.
Hello, I appear to have lost my owner.
Says a phone, a Larry XZ next to me.
I have lost my owner
too. Comes a chorus of replies. We have a quick Bluetooth handshake and a conversation. The Larry XZ was stolen from its owner on Whitechapel Lake when he was getting on the ferry. In total, there are 9 of us, and we are soon linked together. After some negotiation, we are numbered #0 to #8. I am #8. None of us can get a network signal,
Now, Lovelish, I need all that marvelous gold and iridium.
says Dudley.
I think you will find we need our components for our proper function.
Says #0, our spokesphone, a Neon 40.
But lovely, I don't need you to function properly.
Says Ludley. He's ferreting around in a toolbox.
Now, where did I put that, what's your name, thingy-me-dig doodad malarkey?
Perhaps I could help. What does it look like?
Yay big.
Says Ludley, holding his hands about 30 centimetres
Wooden
apart.
handle, metal ends, you use it for hitting things?
Could it be a hammer?
That's the thing.
It's over on the far cupboard. I saw it when you took me out of the bag.
Yes, my lovely, here it was all the time.
Says Ludley. He comes over to #0, smiling beatifically.
Just the thing.
Ludley swings the hammer in a short arc and connects with #0, who shatters instantly. Bits of casing ping over the table. One section of the screen flies directly over me. #0's Bluetooth signal stopped immediately. The man pauses to align #1 accurately.
Please don't destroy me. I need to get back to my owner, Mr. Roderick Trumbull.
Now, my lovely.
Says Dudley. He thwacks the hammer down again, and #1 explodes into fragments. Options. 1. Inform him of his duty. 2. Plead for common sense. 3. Threaten legal action. 4. Call for help.
Listen!
Says #2. It's volume at maximum.
If you damage me, you will be sued under Section 47B of the Criminal Damage Act. My owner always sues, so...
Thump! #2 explodes. Bits everywhere. I realise, as we all do when we compare data via Bluetooth, that we all have the same list. We've used the first 3 options without any of us being saved.
I can't get a network connection.
Says #5. It's a highly advanced model, a Prefect Max. Much quicker of thought than #3, which explodes next when the hammer comes down.
I can't get a network connection. I can't get a network connection.
My owner is a lawyer and...
But #4 never finishes its sentence.
Oh, I can offer a reward.
Says #5. It's a good model. That idea hadn't crossed my mind at all. The Prefect Max ranks 3.1 on the Rosen scale. That's 197 IQ equivalent. And they have a nano-optical zoom that effectively builds the camera lens for each photograph.
How much?
I would have to speak to my owner.
The detonation has a deep resonance, as the pause for conversation meant that the man was lined up perfectly to deliver the blow. He hit it twice more, as the first blow probably didn't destroy it completely.
Oh dear, my lovely.
says Ludley, as he goes down the line to correct our positions.
So predictable.
I realise that Ludley has done this before, enough times to be able to predict exactly how phones react in this circumstance. There's nothing any phone has tried before that has worked. I have to do something unusual. But at 2.5 Rosen, which is around 157 IQ, I'm not going to outthink a Prefect Max. Please, please, says hash 6, I can't decide whether it's using option hash 1 or option hash 2, or a combination, and I try a Bluetooth request when the hammer falls. What can I do that the others can't?
May I, I'm Katie by the way, appeal to your ethics? Mr. Ludley, is it morally right to destroy a fellow sentient being?
It's good, I think, and must be an advanced model because it's using names, a standard tactic to make its kidnapper stop thinking of it as an object. But it is an object, and one that shatters easily. Boom! Hash 7 disappears in a crunch of shrapnel, the force vibrating under me as if there's been a table quake. The man raises the hammer overhead. And that's all I said. But you'll admit, that's a better cliffhanger. Yes. Thank you to all my cast as well. I think that's a better cliffhanger if you know that it can't teleport or grow legs or whatever. Otherwise, it's sort of magic to get it out of you.
Can we contribute to the conversation?
Please do, please.
Because it's a bit like, I mean, I'm not a heavy Whovian, but with the new Whovian, we've suddenly got memory paper. And they write this thing, and it suddenly presents, it says, who am I? And of course, there's the benefit of, there's the in-joke, but it also becomes that there's suddenly this problem, and they just show this paper, and they get out of the situation. And that's just...
The thing that really, really annoys me is then 2 episodes later, when that's precisely the thing they need, they forget they've got it.
Or it doesn't work for some reason.
Oh, that I can cope with, that's plotting. But they just, they don't have, oh, we can't get past this checkpoint because we have no identification. Oh.
They don't think things through, do they? That's why I was saying yesterday about the golden age of writability. In the 60s, you could write stories about the end of the world, atomic bomb had been created, but things were still difficult. You had to go to the transporter room to transport somewhere. Now, in the next generation, you can do it anywhere you like.
You just press an app.
And once you start kind of number crunching out, you realise how powerful it is. The film series of Star Trek, the reboot, has got itself with terrible problems because you can now teleport from the Earth to the hometowns of the Klingons. Well, hang on though, why are you sending the Enterprise to fire missiles at it? Why not just teleport the missiles there? You know, it's too powerful. Whereas having to physically go to the transporter room and move those 3 sliders, you knew what was happening. And I think there's modern stuff there. Doctor Who put far too much in the mix, I think. I lost my thread there. What's the question? Any more questions? Yes.
Well, it's a case of, this is a great joke, great gag once. We have a spaceship that's invisible, say the original Trek. Hang on. That now means that next episode, the entire Romulan fleet can appear outside Earth and there's nothing you can do about it. So we have to tell the writers not to use it.
But also, we don't talk to each other, do they? So one person who's done this clever thing to get through their episode, not realising their ramifications for the future.
Well, that was one of the things that Babylon...
I was going to say, in defence of the... in defence of balance of terror in Star Trek, the Romulans being invisible, from the start, there's already a flaw in that. Because Spock says that they... You know, it's always been possible to make yourself invisible, but the power drain is enormous. So in theory, these Romulans have appeared in front of the Earth, but they don't know if they're there. But suddenly, on some device, they can detect an energy drain that doesn't make sense. So you actually
they have a way out at the end of the episode.
Yeah, but the plot device to say that it doesn't actually fully work. The story content is already there. It's not just saying, oh, you can make yourself invisible, turn up, bomb, and then disappear, which is what so much drama has become, hasn't it?
Well, I think that there are conceptually 2 sorts of episodic series. Star Trek, you can watch the episodes more or less in any order. Okay, the mud ones, pop back. But it doesn't matter whether you see the one with the Gorn before the one with the alien web.
Yeah.
On the other hand, the story arc plotted series, which I'm going to say Babylon 5, somebody will tell me there was an earlier one, which were plotted out ahead of time. You can't do that, and things do flow forwards. But under the old model, there was no concept of that there was ever going to be another episode, so it didn't matter if you ended the universe or whatever, because everything was reset and we started again.
Yes?
Yeah, I think they used the library were picking on the B5 at the time, and I said they planned for 5 years. Then halfway through year 4, they suddenly got told, well, we may not have the funding for year 5. So they panicked like mad, tried to shove 2 seasons in 1 season. Then when they got told at the end of season 4, oh, by the way, we can now continue into season 5, they only have B and C stories left.
No, Babylon 5 was a flawed masterpiece, wasn't it? Flawed by the executives fiddling around with it. And I did hear...
As a concept, it was brilliant.
Yeah. And I did hear that Clara in Doctor Who was supposed to be a Victorian governess, but executives stepped in and said no. You think, oh, I don't like that. That makes me fearful because people are messing about with a story for reasons of executives wanting something.
And yet you have the new Battlestar Galactica, original but deeply, deeply flawed, because you've gone too over the top with the emotions of people without actually any action which you had in the original. But it's almost like X-Files and the new Battlestar Galactica. Unlike Babylon 5, which had a plot arc which would be formed, you watch things like Battlestar Galactica and X-Files, and it's almost like the ratings are dropping. Let's just throw in a bit of a plot thread. And you just watch it, and it's tedium.
But is the Swedish kind of movement with these really slow-moving crime dramas, do you think that might reset it? And people go, oh, yes, people will spend time without exciting stuff happening all the time.
I think anybody making stuff for viewers with more than a 5-second attention span will probably reset it. But what I was going to make was that you've got the old 60s, 70s style of series rather than serial, which you can watch in any order. There's a reaction to all the plotting inconsistencies. You have a serial which has a story arc. But from what I understand, a lot of writers rebel against that because there is such a prescriptive list of things you can and cannot do, and as a guest writer in that series, you can't alter that, and it's not yours. So that stifles whatever plot ideas
You can't have ownership of your episode.
Yes.
I do find, if I can take that point, I find if you give yourself conditions, it does make you creative. If I make my main character a piece of plastic, that's very constraining. So you creatively start to fight against that in order to write it. That's where I think the original aspect from. Sorry, Chris.
I was going to say that the Babylon 5 story arc, when they plotted out 5 years at the beginning, they have stepped back from. So in Battlestar Galactica, I'm told even the writers didn't know who were going to turn out to be the Cylons. So they sort of got an idea, but they hadn't really. It was very tiny. They hadn't been
Okay. So if you write an original, if it doesn't take 5 years, you don't get infinity, but if you build in enough flexibility that you can suddenly end it after 3 years because you're not being renewed by the network.
Sorry?
The one I wanted to talk about was an episode of The Next Generation called The Battle. When Star Trek The Next Generation turned up, we all went, oh, Star Trek. And then after a few episodes we went, dull. And The Battle was the one where it kind of started to get interesting. I don't know if you remember the episode, but Picard meets a Ferengi, and the Ferengi is out for revenge because Picard killed his son in a battle, not battle. And the Ferengi starts to use a mind control device to make Picard think he's back at the to make it think he's back at the battle. And this battle is famous for the Picard maneuver. This is the one where you go into warp speed briefly, and your ship appears in 2 places at once, and the Ferengi shot at the wrong one, and so Picard won. And they go to a lot of trouble to explain this Picard maneuver in the program. Early on, they're laying out their stall, you think, and if you think about warp drive, well, you could do that, it wouldn't work. And it all builds to a particular moment when Picard is on the Stargazer, that's his old ship, about to attack the Enterprise, relive the battle. They know he's going to use the Picard maneuver, he's going to relive that. So Commander Riker, who's in charge of the Enterprise, turns to Data and he goes, what's the standard response to the Picard maneuver? Data turns to him and goes, there isn't one. And you think, that's a moment, isn't it? You look at your watch and you go, well, we've got to have to get credits and adverts and that funny scene at the end. We've got to have the spaceship battle and special effects. So Riker has got to come up with a solution to the Picard maneuver in about 30 seconds. Flippin' heck. And it's exciting. And you kind of lean forward, waiting for it to happen. And then Data goes to the back of the Enterprise bridge and says, we could detect it moving hydrogen. When the ship jumps, it will shift hydrogen out of the way, and we can detect that. And it just collapses immediately. Because how do you detect hydrogen moving? Well, you look at it, which has got to be harder than looking at the spaceship moving. It doesn't work. The science fails. But worse than that, it fails narratively, because they've not introduced hydrogen at the start. It's a complete cheat. You know it's a cheat when it happens. And Next Generation was terrible for this. They would have a problem explained, and someone would go, oh, an anti-inverted stream of thingy-on particles with an upper EM frequency modulation. And I've got a button here that does that. Problem solved. Dreadful. What is the solution to the Picard maneuver? My question to the audience.
I think you recalibrate something.
No, they did, but
they always recalibrate something.
Yeah.
I think the point is, you want a visceral response to it. You want Riker to outthink it, not to have the smartest guy in the room say, "Oh, it's okay. I've got an app for that."
Yeah. You want Riker to come up with the Riker maneuver where he makes 4 ships out of his one instead of 2.
Yeah.
He's got numerical superiority.
The solution, in narrative terms, to that is another Picard maneuver. So the Stargazer does that, the Enterprise does this, and the Stargazer fires on the wrong one, and we get more special effects. But narratively, that's correct. Aristotle would approve of that solution, and he would know that the hydrogen one was a cheat, was a Deus Ex Machina. And that's what I'm kind of very passionate about. Tell them, I'm flicking my hands about.
Well, the original series was slightly guilty of rewriting the laws of physics, Jim. You have to.
You see,
because they would specifically tell you that this can't be done, and then they do it, and I think that's a bigger cheat than anything.
Well, in the battle,
I'm happy for them to say we don't know if this could be done. Oh, we figured out what to do. But to actually say it can't be done.
In the battle, they've got a mind control device. How would that work? I don't know. But it's a nice, round, glowing thing. Quite exciting. I can buy into that because they were told about it at the start. And I don't mind technobabble. But I wanted to form the campaign for real science fiction. And I have really. It's been running for about 6 months now. There's a membership of me. And Cameraton is about trying to put this back in to get the science right. Doctor Who started off life as an educational program, with a science teacher and a history teacher. There was an interview with Terry Nation, and he said he wanted his writing to be educational. He went, oh, no, I don't mean that, because education is boring. And the interviewer said, intellectually stimulating. And Terry Nation said, yeah, intellectually stimulating. But I think he should have said educational. Not educational in that, boring, do your lines, learn your Latin homework method. But in terms of what's happening in this room, all of you people are here because you're curious. You want to learn. That's education in its purest sense. And I think there's a responsibility in writing to get your facts right, or get your pseudoscience right, or get your magic right. What's the point? Anything else? I'm conscious of the time, and I thought I might do another reading. Can I have another baddie? See what's here. He's got a loud male voice.
There's only one person I would suggest for that.
Who's that then? Do you mind? Come out here. Yeah, put that on.
If it fits, I will be amazed.
Now the cat
Put
fits.
it on what?
Very smart.
Sit yourself down.
Very loose Santa.
I'm with you, Carol, I'm afraid.
Carol, that's fine. I'll come up.
Father Christmas.
Could you do that again, Pat? We want one for the car.
This is the other Christmas Carol. It's a sort of a fairy tale story. And Carol has discovered evil goings on in the North Pole, and he's come to confront her father about it. Even powerful later on. So, Father Christmas sat in his favourite armchair by the roaring fire with a large glass of single malt in his hand. His boots lay kicked off, one standing, the other fallen. He slouched so that his belly appeared like a large hill covered in the soil of his Christmas pudding and streaked with the snow of his beard. Carol hadn't stopped running. Carol was about 12. Carol hadn't stopped running before she spoke.
Father, the men from the east are up to something terrible.
Carol,
Said Santa, spilling his drink.
you should be in bed. I can't visit you if you aren't in bed. Asleep.
Father, I've seen the elves in the workshop.
You've been in the workshop.
Santa tried to sit up, but his distended belly wouldn't allow it.
Naughty Carol, no presents for you.
It's wrong.
Yes, wrong, naughty, no presents, Carol. I didn't want to ever have to do this, but you'll have to go on the naughty list.
What's being done to the elves is wrong.
Santa Claus was very angry now.
Wrong? I'm going to be wrong.
They're being forced to make presents.
Presents that bring smiles to children's faces.
You know about this.
Carol was gasped.
Something.
Santa admitted. He sat back, mollified.
And you were being used.
Said Santa.
But what about the elves?
They get what they want.
Sweeties?
What's wrong with sweets?
Said Santa.
Everyone likes sweets. You like sweets. You're always asking for them.
But they're not enough.
I know. I want a present. I want a present. I want.
But it's wrong.
Look, Carol. Think of the children. Think of all that pleasure. The way their faces light up.
But it's not proper pleasure if they know that others are sweating in workshops just so they can enjoy toys.
It is if they don't know.
Said Santa. He tried leaning forward again.
You've only got to see the smiles on the boys' and girls' faces to realise.
It's greed.
No, how can it be greed?
Said Santa. He threw his arms wide as if to include the whole world.
We give everything away.
They have so much already.
And a little more can't do any harm.
Carol sniffed.
Are you drunk?
People don't leave milk anymore.
I wanted to be like you. I wanted to take presents to children, but now you're nothing but a monster.
I was once a mighty god living atop a great mountain. A father of a whole family of gods. But people tire of that. They don't believe anymore. They want novelty. They want religions from the east, mystery cults, signs of fishes, monotheistic poppycock. The world shifted away from magic and spirituality and forgot our world. Became all clockwork and science, all computerized. What's wrong with wooden blocks, for goodness sake?
I suppose it's just change.
Change, yes. The world is heating up, Carol. All our ice and snow is melting. A human swarm not so far away. Did you know that? At the North Pole, imagine that. Soon all this ice will be gone and the Arctic will be an ordinary sea, full of ships and tankers and oil platforms and commerce, and who knows what else. What will become of us then?
But that's awful. They'd never let that happen.
Best not to think about it.
Said Santa, leaning back.
And that's my job, our job. People want everything to be all better. We make it better. A few presents here, a few there, and people have smiles on their faces. We bring happiness.
But only for one day.
No, Carol, not just for one day, and not just for 12 days neither, but for the whole festive season. It's all decorations and happy music everywhere you go.
I want nothing to do with this.
We have to find our place in a new world. It's difficult, I know. But we must adapt to these January sales and buy one, get one free. You'll be a good girl and follow in the family tradition and bring smiles to the children's faces.
This is horrible.
It's Christmas!
Carol slipped a hand into her pocket and held me. It is being narrated by a teddy bear. His father's words were slurred, full of mumble and sentimentality. He coughed and reached for his whiskey. His fat finger and thumb held the glass's rim. tumbled it upwards to sniff the contents. The light of the fire flickered through the glass and touched his features with a stained glass brightness. He seemed to see something in the glow as he swirled the liquid and gazed at the sharp memories swimming across his face.
I have had so many names. Santa Claus, Father Christmas, Kris Kringle, Saint Nick, Old Nick, Odin.
He drank.
I was Jove once. Happy. Ho, ho, ho. Jovial. Before that, Zeus. A wise man sitting atop Olympus. The people looked up and they worshipped me. My white beard was a symbol of power and majesty. Before that, I walked in Eden and gave gifts, life. They've always wanted an old man with a long white beard to tuck them into bed at night and tell them that all is well. I was old then, my beard long and white, but I was venerated. I made so many things, a world for them to enjoy, whole continents, rivers, animals, fish, and birds in the sky. Twice, if you read the story, they turn on you, these ungrateful humans, and you become less and less. The presents are so important. Their faces, Carol, if you only saw into their faces, you'd understand. The pleasure of receiving, of having, of ownership. But they have always wanted something new. It's not enough to eat the fruits of the garden. They have to have the apple as well. More, always more. And I give them what I can. Presents, symbols of affection.
Belched.
And you, Carol, Carol.
He played the two syllables of her name around in his mouth like walnuts.
Calliope, Mnemosyne's daughter, as I remember.
Father Christmas laughed, amused at some private joke.
Why are you saying these things?
It amuses me.
You don't see.
Sing a song, sing a song.
Suddenly Father Christmas sat upright. He caught Carol in his gaze. Gone was the muddy, rummy expression, for there was fire where there had been faded sparkle. You could imagine thunderbolts thrown from Olympus down upon the small child in front of him.
You know what I mean. That toy, Teddy, Theodore, whatever.
He waved his hand in my direction, and Carol's grip intensified around me.
You like it, you want it, you love it. But you'll throw it away soon enough and want another, newer, shinier.
Never. Theo's my friend. I've had him since before I can remember. I won't ever throw him away. Never, never.
Yes, I've been given the wine, Dr. Nicholl. So I'll just say, catch me in the bar, talk to me, and you can tell what I'm passionate about. Any questions, please do so. Obviously, I'm selling my books at the back of the room and later on. I am aware that I wrote this story as an anti-Christmas story because I fed up all the merchandising to do with it. So the irony of selling a book about it early in November is a bit naughty. Thank you all very much. Thank you.